Hey guys, we are live in Android Coliseum number 35. Myself, Tom Gray, are joined with a large panel of people today. We have Cass Morrison, Damon Chandler, I hope I pronounced that right, Mark Lestuca, Bernard LePage, Ryan Moore, Sylvain Labors, and we got a huge lineup today, so hopefully we'll get lots of opinions and keep it going with introductions. So first on the list, we'll start with Damon Chandler. So we'll ask Damon Chandler a couple questions, your name and how you got started with Android, and what's your status in the Android community.
How everybody doing?
Is he frozen?
That's right.
Yeah, he's frozen in place.
Okay. You there, Damon?
Yeah, I'm here, but it's repeating what was just recorded.
Oh, your YouTube is probably playing in the background.
Somebody got YouTube up?
No? All right, well, while we work out those technical difficulties, let's move on to Renaud Lepage. So, same questions, your name and your status and everything like that, if you wouldn't mind.
So, name is actually pronounced Renaud Lepage. And I'm an all-around enthusiast, so to speak. I wouldn't really qualify my status. Basically, if you want to know, just look around.
Yeah, I'm here.
Eh? Yes, like the glue, Lepage.
Okay.
Pass. And basically, the first time I ever touched Android basically was, if some of you remember, back when we got the CDMA HTC Touch on Bell and Telus, which Americans might identify as the Sprint HTC Touch. We had that, the HTC Dream, the G1. Wasn't out on Rogers, and I already had Android 1.1 on my HTC Touch. That's how I got into Android, and then now they're stuck with me.
All right, well, let's give Damon another chance. Damon, you want to try that again? No? Okay. Well, moving on. I think all right, let's...
yeah, Damon, just close your YouTube tabs, because it's probably that. Or maybe your Google Plus tab that might actually be playing the YouTube.
That is also possible. Okay.
Done? Cool.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, so did you want to try it now again?
Yeah, I can try it again, no problem.
Okay, let's go. Go ahead, jump right into it, buddy.
All right, well, Damon Chandler with AT&T, been with Android since the backflip. I do switch phones periodically from all kind of phones. I just went back to my HTC One today. Love Android.
All right, good start. Okay, so moving on to Google Plus, where basically all of us have become friends. And Google Plus is now 2 years old. And we were talking pre-show, and would any of us be here or have the Android status we have today without Google Plus? If we use Facebook, will we all be friends? Would we even have this blog that was born on Google Plus, essentially? So, I mean, let's start with Ryan Moore. You started with Google Plus first. In fact, I think you actually invited me as an early beta tester before it became public. How did you get into Google Plus, and what has it done for you that Facebook could never do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember who I invited on Google Plus. I can't remember. I remember joining, and I found my first post was June or July the 1st. So I was in a little after the first round of people. But what I liked about Google Plus, and what I really still promote it to people who are out there that are using it, is that it's really interest-based, whereas Facebook and Twitter, they're all about maybe a quick connection to somebody else. I think that with Google Plus, we have that connection of I can find other Android-connected people, and because it is a Google product, you tend to have a higher concentration of those Android people. So it was a lot easier for me to find people who had a similar interest in what I was looking for and join in that conversation. On Facebook, I couldn't really just go and search for Android people, and it didn't really have that same connection. So for me, it was a great way to connect with people who had the same passions that I did, and then easily instantly connect with them. And then once they introduced stuff like the communities, it just exploded for me in terms of from the passions that I have, like Android or piping or whatever it might be. So for me, I really found a great way to connect with people that I wouldn't connect with in other social networks. Like, I wouldn't know any of you guys on this panel here whatsoever if it wasn't for Google+. Like, I don't think on Facebook we would have had the same sort of connection as we would have
You would probably be glad you didn't know me.
Probably, but at the same time, I appreciate any of the conversation. Like, to be honest with you, like, I don't think I saw my post the past week where I actually wrote about that QI charger, and I stepped in it big time. And guys like Russell Hawley called me out, right? And, and as much as they're like, I don't enter the conversation if you don't want to, but I wanted to be in that conversation. I wanted to get ridden over and talked about and corrected, because it's having the conversation with people that I normally wouldn't, and being edified and talking that stuff. I mean, that's what I love about Google+, is we can have those conversations. Facebook, if you wrote stuff on Facebook, you would just get likes, shared, retweet, stuff like that. Whereas in Google+, I find people are more apt to have a conversation. That's what I find. I don't know, anybody else, what's your thoughts on the Google+?
I wanted to point Mark out when you're done here. Go ahead.
Basically, can I?
Yeah,
so essentially, as in the beginnings, Google Plus was more geared towards tech people as it came out, and then rolled out as for more people, so to speak. It's a way of speaking, and it wasn't necessarily designed for tech people. But the fact is that there was more tech people on there, so it was kind of easy for me to just get out of Facebook. I actually deleted my Facebook profile like 3 weeks, maybe even 2 weeks after creating myself my first Google Plus profile. And then, quite honestly, I never really looked back. Facebook is like done and dead to me.
All right, so I'm going to ask Mark. Mark is, as Ryan calls him, our Facebook. So, I noticed that Mark still occasionally posts on Facebook, and not always on Google.
You occasionally post on Facebook, too.
Very, very rarely. So, we're not talking about me, we're talking about you right now. So my question to you is, what keeps you on Facebook and not totally committing to Google+? What stops you from completely killing Facebook? What do they have over at Google+?
Give in to the
people.
dark side.
There's still a huge gamut of people that I know who do not even touch Google+, and who use Facebook. And I post, the stuff I post on Facebook is the stuff that I want those people to see. But if it's just whatever I want to post my thoughts, then I don't even bother with it. That's kind of what keeps me using that, right? And stuff like my wife posts on there, and all the friends and everything are on there to see those pictures. So.
Yeah, I'm with Mark. I'm with Mark on that one.
If everyone switched to Google Plus, then hey, but now I delete it in a second. But it's hard to.
I don't have a wife. I don't have that problem.
It's hard to
just
stick
to Google Plus, and you won't have that problem.
Ryan, you had a comment?
My comment was, it's funny because with my work, we tend to do workshops for Facebook, and we tend to do a lot of these discussions of the fastest growing demographic within Facebook is the 40 to 65-year-old female, and that's my mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's my aunts, and it's most likely probably the reason we're all getting out of Facebook is because our family's on Facebook now, right? But that's the only reason. That's the only way I keep in connect with some of the aunts and some of the people that still want to see a picture of my son, and it's they're not going to go to my blog. They're not going to read my Twitter or read my Google Plus because they're barely on the internet as it is. But they're all into Facebook, so I have to, for them, have that conversation there.
They should have your blog on their RSS feed.
That's a point we can talk about later.
All right, Cass, your comment?
So I got into Google Plus because you gave me an invite, Tom. And I was never on Facebook like Renaud. I have no kids, no one that I really want to impress or know from before. I am in that 45 to 60 female age range, but there's just nothing appealing to me for Facebook. So, but I do agree, you get to meet new people, and this is where you come to meet new people that have the similar interests to you.
And for those of at home not knowing where the invites came from, before Google Plus was public, it was a invite beta only, and I was one of the fortunate ones to have unlimited invites. So what I did is Ryan and I ran Android in Canada together. We made a post together saying, hey, if you want an invite, comment on this page and we'll gladly hook you up. And then we had a whole bunch of following after that, including
Forgot
Cass
about
Morrison.
that. We did that on AIC.
Yeah, including Cass Morrison, who has become a very valuable member and is here with us every single week. So that's great.
I'm going to pull a very gloating one. I was invited on Google Plus by the wife of the original super user programmer.
Hey, nice.
Is that in your bragging rights?
No, my bragging rights is totally different.
I got my invite on Facebook. I'll say that much.
Oh, you had to put that in there.
You must get a Facebook guy then.
Actually, I got mine on Twitter.
I think he's missing here.
I got my invite from directly from Google.
Really?
How?
Yeah. Well, I sent my email, and they finally invited me 2 days later.
Yeah, they ignored me and everybody else I know.
Oh yeah.
You just one-upped everyone.
You got all the plus ones.
All right. Well, any last comments about Google Plus before we move on? None? Okay. So Ryan does the poll results. So I'm going to hand it over to Ryan. So go ahead, Ryan, and do your polls.
So those of you guys who know me know that I'm a data guy. I like my numbers. I like my statistics and stuff, whatnot. And I like to understand who it is that we're talking to here in Android Coliseum. So I do a poll once a week, and it's a random question. And this week, because of the fact that July 1st is the official death and funeral of Google Reader, we're asking those of you that still use RSS, and we're going to continue on after Google Reader dies, because I think Renaud wants to talk about why
the number should be 0.
the number should be 0 for those people. Anyways, the idea is, for those of you that are continuing on, what is the service that you'll be using after Google Reader? And so far, the initial result right now is a resounding 60% for Feedly. And then it's pretty well split amongst the G-Reader program, something called iKnowReader, Tiny RSS, RockMelt, Press, Flipboard, and DigReader. And then one lone person who likes to use tea leaves for their news, apparently.
Like actual tea leaves?
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I think we have a
What's the
troll
news
on
today? Oh. New Galaxy S4. Oh, okay.
So
And a bunny.
so these are some of the services that are out there that will help continue, for those of you that continue to get your news sources via an RSS subscription. But these are the options, and it looks like Feedly is the #1 contender right now in terms of very similar to it. And yes, Renaud, it should be none if you think so. And that's all we'll say on that. But yeah, so if you guys have a thought, if there's something that you guys are using for an RSS subscription reader, let us know. And if you're like Renaud and you're not going to be doing an RSS subscription reader, what are you doing instead of? Or is there something different that you do instead of? So let us know. Anyways, the poll is still active on the site. We will continue running it until about Monday, and when I'll post the full results on the website on Tuesday. So thank you for those who've answered.
Is that going to be the new poll?
The new poll, no, the new poll
that's
would be, I don't know. I haven't thought what the next, no, I give the answers in the poll. I give, like, the results on the Tuesday, and then the Tuesday I start a new one.
Still, the next poll could be: what are you going? If you are not continuing your usage of RSS-based news sources, as I would recommend you do? What are you going to use in replacement? Google Magazines, Amazon newspapers and stuff,
Your public library.
Apple. I don't know.
Apple?
I think Apple does have some kind of magazine stuff, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
AOL has a new reader. You know,
I'm sure
anyway,
Yahoo probably has something.
Yeah, Apple's
Rockmelt.
bookstore
I
has.
can't tell if you're kidding, Ryan.
AOL actually has a reader program.
Yeah, that's true. I heard about that.
Yeah.
AOL stopped being relevant when everybody from Engadget made the merge.
Is AOL still around? I didn't know they were still around.
You're in America. You tell us.
They're still on
Yeah,
monthly
I
subscription.
don't use them. I don't use AOL. So I think so.
They stopped sending me the CDs, so
Yeah.
maybe
They're
they
still
ran
making
out.
money off of that.
Yeah. $12.99 a month for dial-up.
Anyways, okay, so that's the poll. Go ahead and answer away, and we'll come up with a nice suggestion for the new poll next week. Back to you, Tom.
All right. Well, this next topic made me laugh because this was a big joke against Ryan. And when he was all excitebike about Ingress, and he got invited to Google Glasses, but then because he's Canadian, they nixed him. So sucks to be a Canadian at this time, but I mean that's what happens. So
And you'd have to explain the $1,500 charge to his wife.
yeah, you had to go pick it up, drive down there, and you can't sell it. That's the agreement. So you're stuck with it for life. If you're caught selling it, complications,
I
yeah.
wouldn't call it stock.
So the whole joke was having Ingress on Google's Glasses. That's actually coming to life.
Google Glass, not Google Glasses.
Google Glass. Okay. We made a joke saying, you know, I could see Ryan going, click, click, Google, hack that portal, right? And him driving and crashing.
Okay, Glass.
So who here is an Ingress player?
I gave it up.
Oh, really?
I gave it up too. I tried it. Couldn't get with it. Sorry.
I got no portals in my town, so Renaud.
Well, mostly gave it up because I can't really play Ingress while driving.
Would you do it with glasses?
If I would be able to say, okay, Ingress, hack that. Yes, I would.
Yeah. Okay, Glass hack. I gave, but the thing is, like, even still, for me, the problem was we started getting a good number of players in town. And the problem with most of these kinds of, like, you know, multiplayer games is that you get guys like me who like to play on their way to work and when they get a free moment, but then there's guys who like to play all the time, every day. So you know what? It just got to be difficult to keep up, and the OCD in me was I would have to play every day to stay on top. So I just, you know, I was burning through so much gas. It was just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And so, like,
I made it to level 8. I'm at level 8. There's not much else for me to do. So.
Who's having a kid?
That's Mark's.
Taishi.
Oh. Oh,
Hey,
he's there.
Mark's the little baby, yeah. So, I mean, so what this story comes from is there's an unofficial app for Google Glass that will allow you to hack portals with Ingress. But it kind of makes me wonder, would you actually get into Ingress if you weren't before, if you could use your glasses to do it? Would that kind of give you the elevation you needed to kind of give you that jump to really get into that game? So go ahead,
No,
Ryan.
my thought, the only thing that would be really cool and which would be neat about Ingress on Google Glass, I mean, yes, it's just much more convenient to say, okay, Glass, hack the portal, and it would hack whatever portal's near you, or fire XMP. But I think what would be really cool is if you had that sort of LAR, virtual reality, what do they call that?
AR, augmented reality.
Augmented reality, like the idea. If I could see the portal as I'm looking in the field, right? So I could see the portal, I could see where the resonators would be. So because right now this is just a third party, it's not an official Ingress app. But I think, you know, it would be really cool if down the road they had an official app that would be, you know, something that I could see the portals and see the XM. Just really immerse yourself in the system. because otherwise it'd be too casual.
Mhm.
Right? Hack, link, whatever you do, right? So.
Okay. So moving along, we got Google Edition devices out for Americans again. Canadians will probably have to wait another month or two if we get it at all. Let's hope we do. And one of the topics here was the infrared ports is becoming a large topic people are talking about. So apparently the S4 IR port is working, but the HTC ones is not. And the question is this something that a developer or CyanogenMod could possibly tweak and make it work? I know, Renaud, you got your finger up, so I'll go ahead, do your thing.
It's a very easy response. Basically, right now, the only reason why the S4's IR is working is because the drivers have it enabled, and because someone somewhere coded the actual daemon that listens to the IR. That job was not done for the HTC One, ergo, it's not there. So basically, the hardware is there. The hooks are going to be available through drivers if they're not already available. It's just that there's some little software component that is missing, and it's going to come because the hardware is there. If it's there, we're going to be able to use it. If not now, then the drivers are going to be coming. It's inevitable.
They got Beats Audio in there, so they got to be able to get all of that stuff in there too.
Beats Audio and stereo on a phone, that is basically all I ever want.
But I have a question then. So I'm thinking, getting the driver, getting the hook to tell the kernel to touch into the IR port, is that something that Google will do, or is that something that HTC will have to do for these Google editions?
If I'm allowed to theorize, because I
Obviously,
don't know jack bleep about that, it's probably going to be both. Because right now, Samsung has the working implementation, yet they are on standard, which means that basically, if it's not nearly AOSP, if it's not nearly the Google's bare bones stuff that is working, it's something that Google is working on as basically the IR hook inside of Android. So basically, if I'm right, which I very well could not be, so basically, I am requesting humbly that people do not quote me on that. Maybe the reason why the HTC One on Google on the Play Store edition doesn't have IR is that Google are still working on adapting what HTC did to a neutral API inside of Android.
I'm wondering, do you think that IR might be part of AOSP eventually? Like, it's just because IR is not a part of AOSP. That's why it wasn't really sort of included. That's my guess.
I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't really invest in having IR, but Mark can maybe enrich my opinion on this. IR was very big in Japan before. Maybe it still is.
If you're selling a phone, at least if it came from Japan, you have to have IR, especially now. All the phones have the IR blasters in Japan.
Boom. So there's that, and then there are the TVs still use IR for their remote controls. So it's kind of smart to still have IR.
And that's
not a killer feature. Honestly, I would rather buy the $100 Logitech base and use a the Logitech remote app. But still, having an IR would be interesting. So maybe Google are just working on adapting on having a neutral API. It might be down the road an enrichment to base Android. I'm not saying that it should be there. Quite honestly, I don't really care for that feature that much, but it could be a welcome add, a welcome addition. Sorry for my French.
No, that's one of the things I just thought about, just because of the fact that it's not in there, and I get not having proper hardware matching on a Google edition, because that's not what these Google editions are about. Is making sure everything they have is working. It would just sort of be a bitch not to be able to use it without having to root and get something different down the road. So my thought was, prognosticating with some future Nexus series and AOSP or whatever have IR part in. Because like I remember I pulled up my old Palm Pilot, it had infrared on everything, right? So, anyways, that's my thought. Mark, you're the last
I'm
thought.
not saying. I'm also not saying that AOSP is going to be basically demanding IR. Quantum's. I would rather not. But it might be a secondary feature that is not in the standard Android CTS compatibility test suite.
Cool. All right, Mark, final comment?
Yeah, I don't know if they would start to put the IR or anything into the AOSP just because it's extra stuff that you're adding into the base code. That it's pretty, it's a hardware specific. Each person or each OEM will put it in if they want to, and you're getting stuff now like if you have a like a Google TV, for example, you don't actually need an IR blaster in your phone anymore. Like I have the Sony Google TV, and I use my Bluetooth controller, and it has this IR blaster connected to the Google TV, and that just sends the signals to everything in there. So that's all I need.
Oh, right. The Sony one doesn't actually have. Yeah. All right.
Sorry.
I was thinking about thinking aloud about the fact that the Logitech Review has a Google TV app for Android that can actually control the actual Google TV. So basically, I don't even need the keyboard. I can use my phone as a remote.
Yeah, that's what you have that right now with the Google TV and the Sony because it has an IR blaster that plugs into it. I don't know with the Logitech Review. Maybe there's an IR blaster.
The Logitech Review has their actual keyboard, but also an Android app that basically controls the Review through your Wi-Fi.
Send me the link for that. I want to try that.
Cool.
So how does it control your TV and your cable box and your sound?
What?
How does the Logitech one control your TV and your sound and your volume, like your receiver, your TV, and
because
all that?
the Logitech Reviewer has a little IR blasters built into the actual box.
Okay, so that it's similar. It has the IR blaster with the box then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, well, I guess we should be moving along. Sylvain actually has an interesting story to share with us. So go ahead, Sylvain, and tell us your story.
Well, you guys all know that I still own a Galaxy Nexus. You like to make fun of me. But anyway, still a good phone. Unfortunately, with Android 4.2.2, I was getting to a point where it was just unusable. I was pressing for an app, would take 10 seconds to open. Just from the lock screen to drag to my camera wouldn't come up, and I had to reboot. So for the last 2 weeks, I was really depressed and starting to hate or my device or Android. I wasn't too sure. So what I did is that I went backwards. I installed ICS, the 4.0.4, and that was okay, but I was still missing too much the new features from Jelly Bean. So what I did install just, I think, 3 days ago, the first Jelly Bean that came out. So I'm running stock now, no more AOKP, no CyanogenMod. I'm just running stock, and you know what? It's back to being fast, and I'm really happy with it now. And so I was reading, what's the problem? I think it's only the Galaxy Nexus that has it. I think it has to do with the memory or the file allocation. So when you just fill it up with files, that's where it starts to lag. But right now I have 10 gigs left, so I barely have anything installed. So that's probably why it's still running really good. I'll see later this week when I start putting movies and music on it. I'll see if it lags or what. Hopefully not, because otherwise I might go back to my HTC Hero.
Yo, dude, no.
No, I won't do that. I'm just kidding.
Please tell me you're joking.
So yeah, that's my story.
I have a question then. So Sylvain, like I mean, when we were talking about this earlier, you were even mentioning going back to ice cream sandwich. Like that was like quite the step back. At least you stayed on Jelly Bean, right?
Well, that was not my first intention. I wanted just ice cream sandwich like when I first bought my phone. But what happened, I remembered that there was a bug with the Wi-Fi. It just kept disconnecting for no reason. So just there, I'm like, okay, I can't use that either. So that's when I did. I went to the first Jelly Bean. So far, so good.
Smooth as butter.
Oh yeah, faster than ever.
So, and it's funny that you mentioned, I want to make the point, I guess. I mean, I made a point in the comment to say something about how the fragmentation of, oh my God, you're going backwards. You're not on the latest 4.2.2. I mean, but being fragmented, and you're still on a very decent system of 4.1.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, it still gives you Google Now services, gives you the proper Google Play services. So why not? As long as your phone is working fine, and I think that's the biggest point. Whenever we see people talking about Android fragmentation, it doesn't have to be about being on the latest service, the latest version. As long as it's working its best for your phone, and you get all the proper, benefits available, why not?
Yeah.
That's my thought.
I'm still itchy because just like Tom, I like to flash all the latest releases, all the nightlies. So it's been a week and I'm still alive. So it's a good
You'll get
sign.
your unicorn horn back soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah, on the Nexus 5 when it comes out.
May I be allowed to speak?
Of course.
I think the actual fragmentation issue is basically every time blown out of proportion to a certain extent. I do admit that compared to iOS, so some devices are stuck with way older versions, and that basically they don't profit. They don't. In French, it's profiter, but I'm not sure of the word in English. But they
Benefit in
Take
some way?
advantage.
yes, thank you. They don't benefit from the latest upgrades and in the kernel for speed or some drivers or anything that can give them room to breathe. But on the flip side, whereas iOS is basically every functionality has to be every bundled functionality that iOS provides has to be baked into the OS. Google used a more modularized approach. Instead of having cages, so to speak, for all of their apps, all of their applications can talk to each other, which enables them to actually upgrade certain parts of the system that are not mission critical. For example, Google, the Google Media Services, now known as the Google Play Services. You can see that as basically the package is called com.google.android.gms instead of GPS. Another thing about that, same idea. Google Play Game Services. Basically, it's a library inside of the Google Play Services, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, Google, with their system approach, actually can update some parts of the system without actually upgrading the whole shebang. So it's not comparing apples to apples, it's comparing apples to robots. You can't really make the fragmentation.
I see what you did there. Apples to robots.
Dude.
But you can't compare apples and robots.
To a certain extent, yes. But basically, if you really go onto the fragmentation argument, and you think about Jelly Bean versus Eclair and all that kind of stuff, the reverse should also be doable. You get iOS 6 on from 3GS to 5. But is it the same iOS 6? If it's not the same subset of features, yes, you do get the stability fixes, you do get some of the security fixes, but you don't get the whole experience. On Android, the flip is that you don't get the stability, but you get the functionalities. As far as your hardware can do it, you get the functionalities. That is an advantage of Android, but basically it's the fragmentation is basically the same on both camps.
But,
With the added, as a developer, with the added value that sometimes some of the functionality that is implemented in newer versions of Android can be used in older versions by using compatibility libraries. For example, the action bar on top of the applications, there's some programmer libraries that enable use of that on like Eclat, which is basically 2.1. So basically, you can have a unified interface that goes from 2.1 to 4.3, which is not even announced, and it's going to be the same interface.
Yeah, no, we can talk about iOS and that whole fragmentation situation can be just, we can blow every point out of the
And
water.
don't get
Anyway,
started on iOS 7 interface versus iOS 6 skeuomorphism. Dude.
Anyway, oh yeah, that could be a whole hangout unto itself.
Before we move on.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead, Mark, quickly.
Oh, yeah. I agree with Ronald that. What was I going to say again now? Yeah, that it's, and I think it was deceptive when they showed that statistic showing how 95% of ours are on the latest version, because that doesn't, if all the features don't translate over, it's not really the latest version everyone's getting. Well, when they plaster Android for not being up to date, but if they're rolling out all the features that everyone loves as independent modules, then you're actually getting a more up to date experience, rather than the iOS where you're gonna get iOS 7 that looks good for our stats, but you don't get all the functionality that everyone else does. You don't get AirDrop or anything.
You can make numbers that say anything.
Yeah. 75% of statistics are made up.
Okay, so moving on. That was a long one. Moving on is apparently Google's developing a console-based video game system.
That would be badass.
It would be. Would you sit on your couch and play Google? And how would they release that? Would it be a soul-bound just gaming system like your Xbox, or would they make it the best Google TV on the market? It will do everything. So
That's
does
what I'm
anyone want
thinking.
to jump in here? Yeah, Damon, you've been very quiet. What do you think the Google game system would be?
Well, I think that something like a Google TV. I don't think that is ready to compete with Xbox and PlayStation, but I think it would be excellent as maybe the best Google TV ever. But I don't see it running neck and neck with the Xbox or PlayStation. I just don't see it.
I see. Anyone else want to jump in?
I can jump in, I guess. We sit around and we watch Ouya and Project Shield get announced, and I don't know. I'm still on the fence to see whether or not it's a gaming platform, because it's still Android at its core.
That's what I'm saying.
You're just making it badass, super graphics capable, right? And to be honest with you, even if my phone was 10 times the power, I really don't think that I would use it to play games. I mean, then again, I'm not a gamer. I really don't play many games. I play Angry Birds and I play Samurai vs. Zombie. I don't really get into many games, so I'm not sure I'm the demographic to search for.
Yeah.
So that's just me.
I game. I game every day, all day, and that's why I said that.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I may.
Yep.
Okay, so basically, before actually going to the gist of my opinion, opinion on the Google making a console, my opinion on the Ouya is basically it's like the 3DO. The Ouya is basically way too early. They are basically exploring the territory. They're coming in with an interesting approach, but it's so rough, and the power is not exactly there to offer everything, and there are some aspects of the Ouya that are not fitting with the whole Android experience, that basically the Ouya itself might be an interesting side project, but right now I don't see it as anything more than a glorified, awesome XBMC node.
It's an experiment, right?
Exactly. It's a very good experiment that basically is testing the waters, but it's not exactly a product. And as for my actual point, the Shield is the first version of Android as a console. Basically, you have everything about Android, the libraries for GameSync, achievements and leaderboards integrated into the Android ecosystem, and all the apps that basically make the Shield a console in and of itself, like a 3DS, with only one screen. It's a touch, but it's only one screen. The advantage is that it truly explores the idea of Android as a game platform. It's not exactly a whole game platform, but it's an interesting venture. Because basically, for example, you can now play Final Fantasy III on a controller in the bus. And if you get home, you can plug it into your TV. So it's very interesting, and I see Android as a game platform. It's not crazy. It's crazy enough not to be crazy.
All right, Mark, you had a comment?
Yeah. The thing about Android being a gaming system is so many of the games and the apps are really optimized for touch screen. There are some of them that you can use a controller for, but not all of them that you could use controller for are optimized for them. Like they have to have you have to be able to map buttons differently. Some of the games I've tried to map the buttons and it won't let you. There's nothing in the options screens. So it's a bit of a like you can play certain games that may be developed for a gaming console, but Google, if they develop themselves, may be in the same situation they were with Google TV, where they may not get very much traction. You guys are gonna hate me for this, but I think Sony's in a much better position to capitalize on that entire infrastructure because they have one of the premium gaming consoles, the PS3 and the PS4. Plus, they also have their mobile phones and they have their Vita, which they can all kind of coexist, especially with PlayStation Mobile. So you got all these devices amongst like phones and handheld gaming devices and they're big consoles that they can actually mix together into the same infrastructure.
Bernard, you got your finger up?
Sorry. Just to bring a point on the side of developers, Google does offer the Gamepad API. So since Android 3.2 Honeycomb release 2 or whatever, basically there is something in Android for gamepads. So
but developers have to utilize it though, don't they?
Yeah. If the developers don't use it, they're
Yeah, well, actually, I have the Sony tablet, and that one you can pair the DualShock 3 with it, and I've tried to play some games with the DualShock 3, and there's no options to turn it on. Like I've tried to do Dead Trigger, for example, and there's no way to use those controls, and they didn't turn it on.
So basically,
but Dead Trigger also works with I've used it with my Z-Mote, and I've used it with the SteelSeries remote too. So some it does work, some. And I sit there with this nice little remote, and I can't use it with anything but a handful of games, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the problem is with those
the developer has to include that bit first. So.
And they haven't been the quickest on utilizing new features like the expandable notifications. Not many developers still haven't taken advantage of that yet. So unless
Okay, so moving on. Renard, last comment? Quickly?
Yeah, defending the evil to a certain extent. Though I am personally for exploring Android as a game platform in the future, we did have some kind of bad experience with the Xperia Play. Just pointing that out.
The Xperia Play was I don't think that was ever really. They made a gaming device, but they spec'd it so low.
Yeah, they basically made a gaming device. They didn't encourage it, but still, it was exploring back in the day. Maybe it was maybe it pulled a Dreamcast. I don't know.
I was like, oh, should I get it? And I'm like, that thing is way under spec. That thing's gonna be obsolete like 2 months ago.
Tomorrow.
So I was like, why would you want to buy that? And it's huge.
Okay, guys.
And not in a good way.
Okay, so moving on, and by the way, I actually just got confirmation Mark does, in fact, work for Sony. This is
Burn.
confirmed. So if you want to hear all about Sony products, please add Mark to your circles, and he will fill your ear more than you want to hear.
This is a horrible segue, guys.
So speaking about Mark and totally in love with Sony, he wants to talk about a new device that is out. So go ahead, Mark, and take it.
Yeah, a couple new devices. They had just announced this last week the Xperia Z Ultra. If you're now,
phone, basically.
Sorry.
My dad wants that phone.
Now this is I'm not a fan of the form factor. I've never been a fan of the
Here it is.
form
It's
factor.
this big.
Yeah, 6.4 inches. You see it on the screens. It's huge. But they are packing some of the higher tech in there, like the Snapdragon 800. They're going to have a triluminous display they're going to use, which I guess it's instead of using standard LCD, which sends light through a bunch of filters. This one is actually going to project different lights or different colors from different like quantum dots or whatever it is. I don't know the technology behind it, but it's apparently supposed to give you a lot more color range.
Keep going, Mark. Don't mind us making googly hands.
So no, they didn't announce any price, or actually they had some leaks about the pricing that it's going to be, and it's going to be a really not a cheap device, but and there's no word on where it's getting released. If it's going to be even released in Canada or not.
Is this
Probably
the one you can write on with a pencil?
This is the one you can write with anything, apparently.
That's pretty cool.
Now, I found it funny. I watched the videos, and I'm like 6.4, and your brain goes 6.4. That's not that much bigger than like the 5.5 and until I saw the video, and you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
that's like just slightly smaller than the Galaxy Tab 2. That's 7 inches.
That thing is huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I did not see once one person put it up to their phone, up to their ear to use it as a phone.
They told you they want you to pair it with their Sony
They come with
Bluetooth
it.
talking thing that it's like
Which
an
is-
earpiece that allows you to control all that. And
Which
They
comes
should
out
launch
at
it with the same-
$59.99.
They should launch it with the same pen as Asus made their one for the pad phone.
yeah, that pen
I
was
love that
awesome.
thing. Samsung has one like that. Remember?
Samsung stole
Brandon
that.
showed
You
us
mean?
Who cares about Samsung?
There's that S word.
There goes
The other S word. All right.
the company Android.
But no, I think that'd be really cool. I mean, but I think for the Z Ultra, they should have that come with it. There's no way I'm using a 6.4-inch device to my ear, and I would be very burned as a customer if I showed up to buy this device and they said, "Oh yeah, and if you want to use it as a phone, you're gonna have to buy this extra little piece."
I
Because
would
there's
do
no
it just
way.
to irk you off.
I wonder if it'll even have like the standard speaker and mic and everything set up that a phone has.
It's gotta
hope
have
so.
it. It's gotta
Why
have.
not?
I mean, for the web conferencing, like Hangouts and whatnot, right? It's gotta have at least something.
Oh yeah. Also, in true Sony fashion, it's dust resistant and waterproof.
In true new Sony fashion, yes.
Yes, so sorry, I should specify that. There seems to be a new fad the last year or so. that they're-
Don't give Tom more arguments to say you're working for Sony, please.
I was just gonna say, aren't you supposed to like hold the product up and like show the title
Oh,
and
Vanna Whiting.
That would be me.
this Hangout's brought to you by Sony.
So what about that watch, Mark?
Yeah. See, this is a bad segue to begin with. Then they have the smartwatch 2 that they announced as well.
I might get that.
I'm
Yeah.
interested.
That's
If I
basically
could sell my old one, I would.
all the shortcomings I had with the smartwatch 1. Like I got so ticked off that you couldn't use it as a phone unless you were paired with your phone. I was like, that's stupid. Why can't you just? Is it so hard to have the tech to keep time? My microwave can keep time on its own. It doesn't need to be paired to a phone.
You have
Yeah,
to
but
sell
can
it.
your microwave keep time over three battery outs?
Well, it's always
3 what?
battery
Three power
outs?
downs.
Oh.
Sure enough.
I don't know. I never tried.
I'm interested in the new smartwatch and what the NFC could do. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess it's supposed to be for better pairing, but if
Yeah.
I could take the smartwatch and start paying for stuff at Starbucks,
Yeah,
That'd be
that'd be cool.
My idea with
But
the
then
smartwatch.
technically it would have to hop onto a network to your device, then then get the internet.
well, whatever.
Or
It's an
be-
app. It's an app. It's an app. It's Bluetooth paired. That's fine. We can figure it out.
You'd have to run a native app on the smartwatch. It might be a stretch.
Tom, your thoughts on it? Because Tom, you have the smartwatch 1.
I do.
right?
And
Wait, don't call it Smartwatch 1 because they may release the smartwatch after Smartwatch 2. They may call it Smartwatch
they'll
1.
make it the second one. I don't care about the NFC. I don't really need that. I don't need it to hold time without being paired to my phone. That's beside the point for me, just as a personal user. What I want is a microphone, and I want it to be able to work with Google Now, so I can give my watch commands while my phone is in my pocket. I want to be able to reply to that text message with my voice. I want to be able to reply to that email. I want basic commands and ask, what's the weather today? And I want to see that weather pane on my watch. That's what I want.
In the shower.
And this one is supposed to be better water protection too. So
Yeah, there you go. Although they tell you don't go swimming with it.
I could use my Google Glass to watch my Google Watch and take pictures and watch it with my glass.
Well, technically, glass is water resistant.
Yeah, they said
Como
this
prove
was
that?
water resistant, and I say bull crap because I accidentally dropped this in the bathtub for 2 seconds and it died.
You didn't drop it, you went for it.
I was on my wrist. I put my wrist in the water for like a second.
well, April had to jump in on that one. Anyway,
Anyway, we should be moving on. That was my wife for all those. I heard this mysterious voice come out of nowhere.
Oh yeah. Also,
the
The other
chiding
thing,
voice of Tom.
another thing important to note is that it uses standard micro USB now instead of a proprietary.
Good.
Yes!
cable.
Good.
Finally! Now
Yeah.
I'm getting one.
Hopefully, they're turning a new leaf with their whole proprietary charging.
It was a bad choice. It was terrible. You can only charge it in one spot ever.
Yeah.
Terrible. Okay.
That's what I hated about the one.
Okay, so moving on. I got an email from the guys at Expert Shield, and I forwarded that to Ryan Moore, and we were fortunate enough to get free samples of Expert Shield to try it out. And, it's probably not the best one I've ever used, but it's definitely a good option. We have many, many, many different choices when it comes to, shields and screen protectors for our phones. We can buy them for 50 cents on eBay, or in my case, I can go to Best Buy like I did today and spend, almost $30 on an invisible shield. Now, Damon's been very quiet today, so I'm going to put him on the spot. Damon, so you were saying you're a manager at an AT&T store. So you're talking about Androids and how you're, a fan of everything. How important to you is screen protectors, and do you recommend screen protectors for any new phone adopters and anyone who buys phones from your store location? Do you recommend screen protectors, and do you support them?
I recommend a screen protector for every customer that buys a phone at my location. All these companies say, they have this kind of glass, that kind of glass. Glass can get scratched no matter what. I use a screen protector on every device, whether it's ZAG, InvisiShield, or generic screen protector. I use it all. I think it's important. I love screen protectors.
Do you have a one of choice, your favorite?
I always switch up between ZAG and InvisiShield.
That's a good one for me, too. I like them as well.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, ZAG.
Oh, yes. I just had one installed today, actually, on my HTC One. I love them. I mean, they're a little sticky when you kind of slide your finger around, but you know what? They do a great job in keeping your screen. And the fact that they got that lifetime warranty and everything, and you can take it right back to Best Buy, slap a new one on there, amazing. Now, Ryan, you actually got one of these as well, so what are your thoughts on them?
Everybody remembers a while back we did that survey on what do you use to protect your phone? Is it a case? Is it a screen protector? And like the majority of people were saying naked, but a lot of people did say screen protectors in some sorts. So it is nice to be able to have a screen protector. So, I mean, when I put mine on, I did notice I had some scratches in the back of my Nexus. So I didn't realize that. I'm like, oh, I guess it does scratch. No matter how much you say, it's not going to scratch. So it is nice to protect my things. Like I can put it in the same key, pocket I have my keys or my sunglasses in and not worry about it. But one thing you have to keep in mind, I gotta say, is that glass versus plastic. Plastic catches more grease. And my phone is now greasier than ever, and I'm constantly having to make sure it's cleaned off. I'm just so used to having a naked glass screen that I'm not used to having to wipe my screen off to be able to view it. It looks murky, etc. But other than that, the Expert Tech or Expert Smart Shield ones, these guys, what I do like with them, the Zags out there and the VisiShields are great, but this is a dry solution. I think the other ones are using that special spray. You have to use that special. I just found I run out of that bottle too quickly. So this one actually worked very well in terms of putting it on pretty easily. So, I mean, take it for what it is. I mean, I'll give you a review after a week of having it on the site, so watch for that. So,
just a side note for you, Ryan. The solution, the Invincible Shield, I believe it's only for the installation and not necessarily cleaning your screen after.
No. I'm an OCD kind of guy. I sit there and a tiny fleck of, it didn't perfectly fit there. Let me take it off again and rewipe and put stuff on. Oh, it didn't do it good. Oh, let me do it. So I end up running out of that.
Once you take it off, it's screwed. Mark, you had a comment?
Yeah, actually, I had a question I wanted to ask for whoever uses screen protectors. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer the clear, invisible ones, or the kind of opaque-ish, oleophobic ones?
Clear, all the way. Because
oleophobic for the win. No, seriously, I have oily fingers, so I hate that.
I go oleophobic.
I don't want to lose the resolution out of my screen. All the other ones make the screen look dull, or the anti-glare and all that stuff. I want to see my screen. I want what I paid for, so I want the clear.
Exactly, the clearest one you can get. Because, like, as Damon had just said, I used to get the anti-glares. That was the only option available for the specific phone I had at the time. And all you see is pixels, little dots everywhere. And when, like, for example, I was using iPhones back in that day, and you got your white page for texting, and all you see is dots everywhere. It's like, oh my god, this is ugly, right? I totally agree.
You might think differently if you have to clean your screen every 5 minutes because of the fingerprints.
Yes.
That's so annoying.
Cass, you got a comment?
Oh, just that I usually put a Ghost Armor screen protector on. Actually, I get them installed. I go to West Edmonton Mall and I get them installed. But for both my S4 and my Note, no comments, Renault, I do not have a screen protector on, and I've had them for a couple months now, and this is usually when I would get marks on it, and they're all good. So I'm not sure I'm going to put a screen protector on.
I am killing myself not commenting.
Good.
Cass, I'm jealous of your access to West Edmonton Mall.
It's only 2.5 hours away.
So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say I want to brag about my screen protector. I bought a pack of 3 for 99 cents in China a year and a half ago, and I'm still using the first one.
Nice.
Yep.
All right, dare I say it, Renaud, blast away, buddy.
Blast away about what?
I figured you were going to say how we're all crazy for using screen protectors.
Not exactly. I'm partial towards the Invincible Shield. But right now, as I don't want to spend another $25 on it and misinstall it and have all the crap on my screen, I'm still using the little static-ish one that came with that line.
Hey, buddy, did you know
You can peel those off, right?
God, I
You know,
hate that.
Dude, I know, but right now it's better than having just a Gorilla Glass.
There's people who
send it
leave.
back to Zag, and get a new one in the mail. They give you a lifetime warranty under any circumstances.
I'm stupid. I already junked it. Whatever.
Oh, okay.
There's those people who they get like the laptops and they leave all the plastic from there, and I want to just pull it
Normally
off.
it's because they don't know it. I'm doing a conscious decision.
I've tried to pull it off and be like, no, don't. That's protecting my laptop, and I'm like,
no.
just
It's
take
not.
it off.
That's bad.
I know what I'm doing.
I have a friend. She bought a new car and it had obviously a new radio in it. And it had the plastic over the radio, and she wanted to maintain that new car look and smell.
Oh god.
And from the windows being up, actually melted that plastic onto the radio. So now it's got this sticky adhesive that she can't peel off.
She deserves it.
So now it's got this really
Orange oil.
bubbly, nasty stuff that she can't. She has to scrape it off, and it'll
No-
scratch her unit.
No sympathy.
Tell it to you.
Actually, one of the
Blue
people who
Barn.
bought the new car smell spray to maintain that new. It's funny, I know.
That
They should just be leasing.
Load of.
I know.
If you can't take the plastic off your radio, you must lease. That's one of the
Yes,
questions.
and if you're buying cans of new car smell, just lease.
Yes, yeah, we gotta get rolling because we're making this hangout super long. So let's start blasting through these. So big news for me personally, and a couple other CyanogenMod users. CyanogenMod hit stable releases for many phones. Not every phone got the stable release, but they got the stable release updates, and they're currently working on it. For the HTC One users, such as myself, and I know Damon just swapped back to his, if you're going to run CyanogenMod, as of today, CyanogenMod has merged a lot of the stuff from the Google edition of HTC One. So no matter if you're running the Sense version or the Google edition version, if you use CyanogenMod, they're actually incorporating all that goodness into their ROMs now. So in theory, it should be just as good as the Google edition with CyanogenMod, in theory. Keep that in mind. There may be the odd little thing here and there that might be off. So that's about it. So let's just skip past that. Next, we got a bunch of devices and app updates, and Ryan's really good at running through these real fast. So Ryan, take it away, buddy.
Just before we leave the CyanogenMod stuff, just so you know, we posted on the blog the other day about some of the new things CyanogenMod is going to be bringing out, which I thought was really cool, was the incognito feature is now going to be built into their nightly soon. I think as of yesterday,
That's good
incognito,
news.
the privacy guard. Privacy guard is in there, but also the cool feature they were going to talk about was the fact that you could, you do the two-finger pull down for your settings in the notification shade. There would be a little viewfinder for your camera that you could turn on and take a picture from your notification shade. I thought it was cool. Just thought I'd mention that. Anyways, updates in the past while. So the Sony Xperia Z and certain markets in Asia got the update to 4.22. The Canadian Xperia Ions got themselves 4.12. And the Galaxy S3 in Canada got itself 4.2. Not much difference, except that it now brings in all the sort of unified TouchWiz theories with multi-window, a new gallery, and all the camera upgrades. So it brought the Galaxy S3 up to where the Note 2 is now, I think, if I remember correctly. App updates. For those of you that are image sharers, Imgur, whatever you want to call it, has an app now, and it's out and available. So those of you who like to make your memes, Imgur is out there. We have the Google Movies, Play Movies program updated. Google Now updated. If you have a smart TV connected to the same Wi-Fi network, it'll tell you what shows you're watching. Gmail updated to have Delete now as in there available if you want to use it. Perfect Viewer, my favorite comic book reader, now has a LAN folder and also customizable covers. Dig Reader just updated, and Canine Mail has a new sort of full UI screen update. So, lots of updates out there. If we've missed any, sorry guys, let us know what we missed. Let us know, tell us in the comments in the blog, and let us know. Yeah, that's it for the updates.
All right, and Cass has the tip of the week for us, if Cass is ready.
I am. So I'm going to share my screen. Sometimes when you have a problem with an app running and it's pre-installed, it's kind of frustrating because you can't uninstall it to fix it. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can go to your application manager in your settings, and because I have an S4 by Samsung, Renault,
And
Flipboard is pre-installed. So I'll show you with this. One of the things you can do is clear the cache. I just have to find Flipboard. I had it there. So if you look in your app info, you have the option to clear the data, clear the cache, and uninstall updates. So the first thing that you would do is clear the cache and check and see if that fixes your problem. And if it doesn't, then uninstall updates. And that'll usually roll it back one. So that, I know, I have a fan on, Tom. That'll roll it back to the last update that worked, and usually will fix your problem. And then you would not auto-update that app until it's updated a couple times more. So that's my tip of the day. Or week. Works for everything that's pre-installed on your system.
Nice. I actually had to use that feature today, and installing some updates to get that camera to install on the HTC One. So that's a very, very good tip. I had to use it myself.
I think everybody uses it once in a while, and it's just like, oh yeah. So.
All right, Cass. Well, while you're in the spotlight, you might as well jump into your App Coliseum. So before you do that, I'll give you time by introducing and what app, for those listening at home, what the App Coliseum is, something us here at Android Coliseum put together is just highlight a couple of apps that we like to use that you guys may not know about. As I said earlier, finding that diamond in the rough. So we basically kind of post our stuff, and you can +1 articles, and whoever gets the most +1s will win. And Ryan will tell you who won last week when we're done here. So go ahead, Cass.
Okay, so my app this week is Pulse Reader. I know, that's what I thought too, Mark. I had used it for a while, and then I stopped using it because it kind of sucked. But it's really come back.
RSS readers do that.
The reason why I like Pulse so much and why I kept going back to it is because I am a big fan of Cracked. And Cracked, for some reason on this, does the whole article on one page. So you don't even have to go to the next page. You don't have like 5 lines. And it is the only reader that has done this. So I keep going back and checking, and now it does have the ability to in your Google Reader feeds. And it has gotten some nice functionality. And the only thing I don't like is even though it has that sidebar, it doesn't swipe back and forth the way that you expect it to now with all the updated apps. So that's a little bit annoying. But other than that, I really liked reading it for Cracked, and it's nice to have all my news on one. So that's my app. You may not like it.
Cracked is quality reporting.
I love Cracked. Cracked.com has got to be the best website on the web.
No.
Mark's actually recommending Sony.
Android Coliseum, I think, is the best website out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cracked is the second best.
There you go.
Damon, do you have an app that you wish to share, everybody?
Well, I don't use that many apps. I use the same apps, but one app that I find myself using all the time now is the Google Play. I love it. I use it more than I use when I get in my car. I cut that over to Siri, Sirius Radio, or anything else. That's the only app I really use.
Google Play Music?
Yeah.
So do you have the all access that you're paying for?
Yeah, that's what I'm using. You type the artist name in, and all their stuff come up every album. You can listen to the whole album. You can skip songs. You can make a radio station. I love it. I mean, at $7.99, I'm paying more than that with Sirius Radio, so I'll deal with it. I love it.
So, Damon, do you realize that you're making pretty much everyone here a little bit jealous right now?
Oh, y'all don't have it?
No.
No.
Oh, I'm
US
sorry.
only.
That's okay, Mike. It's okay.
Can't
Basically, we have to trick the system into thinking we're from the United States just to get access to that.
Oh yeah,
Well-
we technically can't get Google Music, can we, either?
No.
Oh, it's an awesome app. I mean, I'm telling you. I'm not trying to rub it in your face and everything, but this app is.
I might have to put this on my corporate credit card because their head office is in the States.
Man, I'm telling you.
Us here have Google Music, and we were able to use the streaming clouds, like everything like that. But Sivan, somebody who's with us periodically, she actually showed us a way how to use it. Well, in Canada, but again, we have to trick the system into
Yeah.
American. And same with setting up an account to even use the cloud storage, we have to trick the system to make that account. I think I just ruined Ryan's comment. Sorry about that, buddy. Did you want to go on?
No, I was just going to say that, yeah, no, we can get it in Canada, but you kind of have to do some trickery to make it work properly because, yeah, you have to. There's a whole series of steps, and yeah, Sivan did a great article in terms of the steps involved to do it. And once you get it done, it's fine.
Yeah, Mark?
Yeah, and I guess your second favorite app is Google Voice, right?
Which we didn't get as well.
Which we have an article on how to get that working as well. I think that's working.
Work around, yeah.
Make everyone jealous in this house.
Put that big U.S. flag on your banner.
Even better.
On Canada Day, coming up around the corner.
Now wait. My U.S. number
All right, well, Mark
rings on my Canadian number.
What?
Right, Mark's turn.
Turn.
Oh, my turn? Okay. I didn't have a specific app per se for this one, but I have a live wallpaper, and I started. We've been doing a bit of driving around and traveling around. And I've been doing a lot more photospheres now, and the photospheres are actually really nice. But it'd be good to have them as your wallpaper. I found this one app. What was the name of it again?
We don't know yet.
I don't know. It's I have it on here. I just because it's a live wallpaper. It sits in the background.
Go on your Google Play account.
Come on, Mark.
Wallpaper.
The
Live
whole world is
wallpaper.
watching.
So yeah, this one is called Photosphere. Oh, this is Photosphere free. You can get an upgraded one. Basically, if you see here, I have this photosphere I took on the trip to Whistler, and as you rotate around, wrong direction, we should go. And then if you tilt it, it tilts up and down too.
Oh, so it's like 3D.
that iOS new feature.
Well, no, that one uses the parallax. This one just rotates around like you're like it puts that globe around.
Same stuff.
So it's really nice to have a bit of if you've done a really cool photosphere that you want to kind of still have as your background. It's a really nice way to do that. Take advantage of it.
And what's the app called?
This one's called Photosphere Free. Photosphere Wallpaper Free here. I'll find it on the App Store here, the Play Store.
I'm finding a couple. There's Photosphere Live Wallpaper. There's Photosphere HD Live Wallpaper. Two different developers. Yeah, let us know the.
I'll grab it for you.
Yeah, because I want that. I like that.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
A question about that, Mark.
Yep.
So with that wallpaper, obviously it's constantly engaging your sensors on your phone to make it move with the motion of your phone. Have you noticed any significant battery drop on it?
Not really. I haven't noticed anything too significant with it. I mean, I haven't really noticed any significant drop with the battery life. It's maintained it pretty good.
Okay, awesome. Renaud, did you have an app you would like to share with everybody?
Oh, it's one of the classics. It's called Mint. Mint.com, made by Intuit, who that did Quicken before. and basically it just rubbed into my face that I was spending way too much on coffee. Just for that, it's my favorite app.
All right. All right, I suppose that's it. So
That's
Ryan,
actually, I had one quick comment about that. That's actually really good because if you wanted to do, like, if you wanted to have, before you'd have to purchase the budgeting software that Inuit would make too, right? Now you don't have to. It's all web-based, so you have access to your whole budgeting and whole everything online. Which
it is freaking free.
Yeah, it's free.
And they have a tablet aspect app that is way better than the phone aspect, and it's really well made.
And they customize it for tablets really well too.
Exactly.
And what I like about it, because Mark shared it a few months back, is that it's now available for Canada. I mean, I heard about it being a great app, and it wasn't available in Canada.
Yeah, it's tracking my stuff in with my Quebec bank.
Yeah. Immediately, you plug in, for me, my TD account. It pulled in all my accounts in TD, my credit cards, my mortgage, my RSPs. Like one password brought it all in. It was really cool.
It pulled in everything from my dad's bank account, and even he was like, "What the hell just happened?"
So does it have the functionality then of the banking app where you can pay bills and transfer money and stuff like that?
It's basically
just
read
a
only.
budgeting software.
It's a budgeting software essentially, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anything that touches money, you have to go through your site. But so basically, it's information only.
I especially like the alerts that says a significant amount of money has been put in your account. Those are my favorite alerts.
Also, so what if it's an insignificant amount? Is that like $5?
Well, you can set a limits on if there's a significant withdrawal or huge charges. It alerts you for those ones.
I get that notification and it's immediately gone. I go to check the account, like, oh really? Oh, never mind. Yeah. Anyways.
all right, Ryan, your app pick.
Oh, I'm next. Mine is going to be Feedly, just because we talked about RSS programs after. And for me, being a huge Google Reader fan, I needed to find something that was very similar to the Google Reader in the fact that how it operated. And Feedly was the closest, but it added some extra little features that I kind of like. I mean, I kind of like the fact that now in the Google, on the Android app, I can just see a whole list of them and swipe them all away as all red. Okay, and swipe them all away as all red. And so I don't have to go through every individual one. So in terms of very similar to Google Reader, I think it's very similar. For me, it's Feedly. That's it.
All right, Sylvain, you're next, buddy.
Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen. So mine is called a Real Calc. So if you're just like me and do really simple math, like 5 by 5, which is too easy, but what I like about the app is that you have all those options that you never use, but they're there. They're available, so it's great. I remember buying that app for 25 cents during the big sale at Google. I think a lot of people bought it. But yeah, I just can't stand the stock one, just because it's too simple. I need to see all those signs and look fancy.
Even though you won't use them.
That's right.
He runs through those tables, those natural log tables, every night with his dog.
What's the point of having features if you're going to use them?
They're available.
Just in case there's that emergency math calculation.
That's right. You never know.
But, you know, as a math teacher or an ex-math teacher, as you may say it, I would appreciate having those. It's nothing like sitting there and you think, how would I solve this problem? And you need to have that. I want to have that sort of thing, and I have to write the whole thing. And I was making a comment here. Yeah, and like I said, if anybody watched the new series of Arrested Development, there's a whole line they have running through it, and at least you'd have it. At least you'd have it, you know. Well, we might as well, because then you gotta watch the new series. You'll laugh and you'll see it. Anyways, what's the name of the app again called there, Sylvain? I want to take a look at it.
Yeah, Real Calc. And you know what's cool about it is that there's an option in it where it keeps your screen on at all times. So as long as the app is in foreground, it stays on your screen. So that's great. You can just put it on the table, do a few things, and come back to it. You don't have to reopen your phone.
Cool. Now, did you get the Plus version or the regular version?
I have the regular version.
Okay. I'm just looking at the cost, because there is a $2 version in there.
Yeah, I
as
think
well.
there's a few more options, but for what I use it for. Tom?
All right. Well, I guess I'm next. So my app is HoloLocker. And with the talk of all these Google Edition phones and with Google basically releasing their entire software to the Google Play Store, just recently they added their keyboard and some other stuff, HoloLocker is a lock screen replacement that would resemble stock Google's lock screen. So if you were like me with my HTC One, I wanted the HTC One features like the camera, but I wanted all of Google's stuff. So what I do is I kind of freeze all the HTC stuff and download all the Google stuff. And unfortunately, Google doesn't release their lock screen. It's built into the the phone itself. So this would help me achieve that maximum Google feel without compromising my HTC features or Cass's killer Samsung features that she really loves, right? So basically, this is free, and it will take over your current lock screen, give you the whole Google feel. Allows you some basic customizations. Very straightforward. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what the stock Google lock screen looks like. There is a paid version that will allow you some additional customizations, like changing the wallpaper of the lock screen aside from your desktop and yada yada yada. But that's basically it. If you're looking for that stock Google feel and look, this is what you want. This is HoloLocker. So that is my app. All right, so I think that pretty much wraps this up for today. We usually do, and actually before I do that, Ryan, you have to announce the winner of the last week's poll.
Okay, so
App Coliseum.
like we say, yeah, every week we do this App Coliseum to show off some apps, and it's there to show people who may not know these other apps exist. Because what is the count right now? Like a couple 100,000, 50 million, some odd billion apps that are out there. Who knows? There's a crap load of them. And the idea is that we want to show that there's a lot of really great ones out there that you may miss. So the ones that we picked last week, and let's just run through them again. Last week, Cass showed off Grape. I showed off Office Suite Pro 7. Mark showed off Pulse. Martin showed off UCCW. And Tom showed off Smart Cover. The winner last week was Martin, UCCW. So a lot of people out there liking to use UCCW to customize their phone. So get a chance to take a look at UCCW. It's a good one. But if you guys liked one of the apps you saw this week, by all means, +1 the post we just shared on Google+, Twitter, Facebook. Like it, tweet it, reshare it, whatever it is, and we will make sure that we'll see who wins this week. So my 3-week-in-a-row streak is over. Martin's won last week, and let's see who wins this week.
All right. Yeah, well, hopefully Ronaldo will win this time. So that concludes our evening tonight. We usually have a off-air portion for roughly about a half an hour. So if you wish to comment on anything we did, tell us how bad we did or how good we did, or simply have any questions, feel free to join us. We'll be posting a link for the offline portion soon. So on behalf of the Android Coliseum team and our special guest tonight, thank you for joining us. Starting with Cass Morrison and sliding down to my right, probably your guys' left. I'll let you sign off individually one by one, so go ahead, Cass.
Good night, everybody. Have a good Canada Day weekend. Drive safely. Don't drink. Don't get in jail. Just have fun. Unless jail is fun for you.
The notwithstanding clause.
Well, I want you to have fun.
All right, Damien, sign off.
All right. Good night, everyone from the U.S. You can follow me on Twitter, dchandler326. Look forward to seeing y'all around.
Yeah, thanks for dropping by. Have a good Canada Day weekend. don't have too much fun.
Okay, so he's saying don't go to jail.
Yeah, don't go to jail.
Bring bail money.
Irish poutine on all of you. Good night.
Poutine. Je t'aime, poutine. Anyways, I guess my turn next. Guys, yeah, have a great weekend. I know myself. I got my little Canada Day hat. You guys can see it's 1867. It's awesome time. I'm on vacation. This is going to be a great time. I hope you guys are having a great time as well. We'll see you around. I'm going to have a great time, Damon, in the States on the July 4th. Our pipe band is heading down and doing many parades, so we'll celebrate with you there.
All right, guys, thanks for watching, and wish me luck with my older version of Android.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Take care. Hopefully, we'll see you next week.